here with the crew of Old Orange Brewing Company. I have Jerry, Mark, and Tony. Okay, now I was wondering, how did the name Old Orange Brewing Company come about?
You know, Old Orange Brewing Company came about because we're all Orange residents. We all grew up here, and we always had a healthy respect for the history of Orange and the sense of community that's here. And so when we started to create this brewery, we wanted to stay true to that and create a real neat community place that really, in the name, gives it that hometown feel.
Another question I had for you was, how did you guys come together? Like, what made you all say, let's open up a brewing company?
We've known each other for a really long time. These two guys sitting here I've known since I was in 3rd grade. Growing up and going to high school, and even before that, just hanging out and stuff, we just bonded, early on, and because of that, I think it's really helped us to move through our lives and have the dream of this place. Because we had talked about this since we've been in, early high school. We had all talked about doing a brewery. Mark and I started home brewing and just really had fun with it, and started making some really good beers, and we were enjoying them, and we were letting all our friends and family try them, and they were thinking, hey, you guys make pretty good beer. This isn't bad. One thing we also have done ever since Tony and Ashley got married, that his wife is from New Orleans, and when they got married, we all went to New Orleans for their wedding, and just fell in love with the food and the crawfish and the beer. Just the beer, as a result of that, we came back from that and said, we have to take a piece of that and bring it back here. So we started doing an annual crawfish boil, where we would actually fly the crawfish in still alive from New Orleans. And we did that year after year. And then as our home brewing stepped up, we combined the two, and we would make our beers just for the crawfish boil. And we would have this huge, I think the last time we did it, I don't know, we had
6 beers on tap.
We had 6 beers on tap.
And stuff you guys just did at home.
Yeah.
Just your home brewed stuff.
Yeah, and we actually created a refrigerator that had 6 taps coming out of it, and we put it in corny kegs, and we created a little tap system where we could have all 6 beers on tap at the same time. I think next year during crawfish season, we're going to try to do a crawfish boil here at the brewery.
The beers that you have on tap right now, there are 3. Can you name those beers for me?
Our first beer is Street Fair. It's an annual festival that we have here in the Circle in Orange, where they close down the whole plaza area, and it's called the International Street Fair, and there's just tons of booths, and we all grew up going to that every year as kids, and it was just always a great time of year. It meant the end of summer. That was the only bummer, because it was always right on Labor Day weekend, right at the end of summer. Just a beautiful beer. It's what's interesting about all our beers, if you take a good look at them, these are all unfiltered beers, yet our clarity is very nice. Mm-hmm. It's got a little bit of bitterness to it, a little hop kick at the end. Pretty easy drinking. It's a nice summer ale, and
refreshing.
Yeah.
Oh, really refreshing.
Yeah, so the next beer we have is Old Dummy. There was an old streetcar that used to travel between the Orange Circle, Santa Ana, and Tustin. And it was called the Orange Dummy. And it was, in the early days, it was actually horse-drawn. They had horses, and a donkey would pull it around. Yeah, it's American Strong Ale. It's very high on the alcohol. It's 9.3% is what it ended up being, which we were shooting for a big beer. That's what we wanted.
It has a sweet taste to it.
Yeah.
It's got such a high alcohol percentage. Yeah, it's very sweet.
And what's interesting about that beer, even though it's our biggest beer, most of the women who come into our brewery and do tastings end up liking that beer the best. Now, number 3 is a really special beer for us. Cannonball IPA. Now, Cannonball was my brother's nickname with his riding group. He was an avid cyclist. And he cycled for over 20 years. And a little over a year ago, he was involved in a cycling accident where it took his life. He was affectionately known as Cannonball by his riding group. We made that beer in his honor because his riding group told me that a lot of them really love IPAs. So, to honor them in the way they've supported my brother's family after his passing, we created Cannonball IPA. Unlike most California IPAs that are just over the top hoppy, we chose not to do that with our IPA. Ours is very well balanced. So we wanted ours to stand out a little bit. We wanted it to be a very special beer because there's so much meaning behind it for us. and you know, one that people can just really enjoy, you know, and drink very comfortably. You know, even if they're not the you know, beer connoisseur or expert beer drinker, anyone can pick up that IPA and they're going to enjoy it. We also currently have 3 more beers in the fermenters. They're going to be ready probably in about 3 weeks from now. We have a porter, and we have a Hefeweizen, and we have a nut brown ale.
And which I love about the breweries in general, or even your brewery, that you guys are so welcoming, and you know, anyone could just walk in here who could be new to craft beer altogether, and you guys are willing to sit down with them and, you know, kind of go through the process like you have with me right now.
For sure. We do that actually during our tastings. We're very, we actually have a lot of fun doing it when people come in and they've never been in a brewery like this, to really, you know, take them through the beers, explain them. We'll actually take them for a little tour back by the tanks and stuff and give them, you know, kind of a rundown of how the beer is made, and we really enjoy educating on the brewery process and getting people's palates to change from, you know, drinking the mass-produced stuff to really starting to enjoy craft beers and locally made beers.
People all have that to look forward to.
Absolutely.
Food trucks, great beer, glowing bar.
Absolutely. Glowing bar.
The 3 beers on tap right now, plus we have 3 in the fermenter. So about 2 more weeks, those should be almost ready.
Yep. So we want to get it in before Street Fair for sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that's our goal, is to have the grand opening prior to Street Fair.
Take me